Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so this video almost did not happen, but I promised you guys I was gonna be posting and I was gonna film more often, so hence this video. By the way, I'm holding my cat because for some reason she was just trying to be close to me that day. And the day I filmed this video, if you look at my face, you can see that I'm frowning all through this video. That was because I was having a horrible day, but I was like, nah, I gotta make content because I was gonna do this dress anyway, so why not just film it? So this red dress I'm wearing was given to me by a friend when she was clearing out her closet. I think she used it for like a bridal thingy type thing, but the dress is beautiful. I love this dress, but it wasn't practical to me. I wasn't gonna wear it anywhere. So I had this dinner though, and I decided to use this particular dress for the dinner. So just stay with me as I revamp and change this dress into something new, something amazing, something beautiful. So a couple days beforehand, I already sketched this design on the right of the screen. You know, that was my inspo, that was what I was going to make. So what you see me doing on the mirror right now is marking the high points of the dress and the low points, so that way my slant will be accurate. I can do it on the table, but when I said I wasn't feeling myself today, so I said just, do it on my body and then straighten it out on the table. But if you want to do it on the table, just measure like the high part with the tape, measure the low part with the tape, and then just mark it out on the dress. So next, I laid the dress flat on the table and then connected the part I marked together with a ruler to make like a straight slant. Then I took my scissors and it felt like I was cutting away my life because this dress was beautiful. Now I understand why people cut their hair when they are going through a phase. It's literally the same thing. Just pick up your dress, cut it and change to the same style. Don't take advice from me. But that was exactly how this felt. I was sad cutting it, but I feel like it ended up turning out really nice. Now you guys are thinking I wasted the bottom part. No, I'm actually going to use it for a different dress and also post it here. Next, I did some magic and the top was gone. You can just lose it. So next, I had to put a dress on to see if I liked how it fits. And I kind of did. I just thought that the bottom part was a little bit too long for the style I wanted. And I didn't like that top part. So I just go ahead and change the top part and, do the bottom part again. God, I now understand why people say I'm mean. Like, look at how I'm frowning my face in this clip. I'm scared just editing this video. But anywho, these are some things I bought to, help the dress. That's a lace fabric that's going to go on the top. And this is a fringe fabric that's going to go on the bottom. Actually, it's beaded fringe. So not just like the regular fabric fringe, it's beaded. My face in that last clip was traumatizing. Anywho, I didn't like the top like I mentioned, so I decided to change it. So look at how I folded it. Pay attention to it, even though for some reason it's not in the camera, but you guys get what I'm doing. So I folded it in the middle. Actually, I think I ended up moving it forward. Yeah, I did. See, I'm smart. But I folded it in the middle like this and then marked out the new neckline I wanted. This particular neckline was not giving what I wanted to give, wasn't even fitted at all. So I marked out like a kind of U neckline and then just cut out what I marked. Now, if you want to stick with your own neckline, you can still stick with it. If you're actually doing this project or you're just watching for fun. So after destroying the neckline, I decided to open up the sides because I don't know. For some reason, it had a very, very weird fitting on my body. Like the hip was not where it was supposed to be and the top part was a little bit too tight. Plus, I actually needed something else to go on that top part. So that's why I was opening it to fix it. So I had to watch Netflix, entertain myself somehow. Anywho, I got working on the lace next. So what I did was I cut out the top bodice part of it. I think this part is actually going to be a tutorial. So let me explain in detail what I'm doing. So first off, I marked the length I wanted down. So I used 10 because from my shoulder to my bust point is 10. I know it's not going to get to my bust point, but you can never be too safe. I didn't want to do too much, if that makes sense. Now I'm looking at it, that line actually is kind of straight. It's actually so straight. But then on that line I marked on my 10 inch, I marked 3 inches from the middle and 3 inches like that. That's for my neckline. It ended up being a little bit too wide, so I'm thinking next time I will do 2.5 and 2.5. But then that might be too tight. But it still fits. But you guys see what it looks like at the end of the day, so you can know what you want to use for your own. So I just drew like the circle for the neckline. So next I marked my shoulder. My shoulder is at 7, so I did 7.5. Then I did the shoulder slant. Then I marked the armhole. So from the tip of the shoulder slant to the bottom, I marked for 7 inches for my armhole. Then I just drew in my armhole curve. Now, if you want a more detailed tutorial on how to do a bodice, go watch my how to do a bodice video. But I think this was pretty much detailed if you're not a beginner. So now to cut my back piece, what I just did was I placed the front on a folded piece of material and I just left like 1 inch allowance on the middle part, so that way I'm going to be able to fold for my button, or actually I used hook and eye for my hook and eye, and then I just cut it the same. Oh, for the neck part, the neck's going to be at 1 inch down, so it's not going to be as deep as the back as the front neck was. So as you can see, I just marked 1 inch and then just did my curve, and then everything else stays the same except for that part on the outside, so you just cut it out. So next, I've placed the front part of the dress on the front part that I just cut out now, so I can get the exact shape that I need. So I marked out the shape first, and then I added a little bit of allowance. So I marked on that line, then marked a lower line. That was the allowance. So I took a break in editing this thing and I just came back to editing. But basically what I'm doing is just making sure I mark that 1/2 inch allowance down all the way. Then I cut it, and then when I cut it, the next thing to do was to sew it. So I just placed it like this because this is exactly how it's going to be. And then I made sure, like, to check the front and the back of the lace, because it might not look different to like the common eye, but I know that it's different, like the designs on the front and back. So I made sure to know where my front was and my back was. Then I put it like this and then pinned it exactly how I wanted to sew it, and then stitched it. So next I put the back lace piece like on the shoulder like that, so I'm going to know where to stitch, and then I stitched just the shoulder, so just one line on the shoulder, as you can see. So now I had to join the back lace piece to the dress. So what I did was I just placed it like so. Again, with sewing, all you just gotta do is place it and see how it actually falls, and that typically shows you exactly how to sew it. So I placed it like this, then lifted up the under part, and I just basically sewed it. So it doesn't matter what method you use to sew it. You could decide to do a top stitch, you could decide to sew on it, but I didn't want the stitch to be visible, so that's the method I used. But anything you do goes, really. I'm on my 3rd day trying to edit this video. Okay, anywho, I wanted to take this time to show you guys how to add breast pad to like an already made dress. So this one didn't have any padding, and I was not going to wear bra with this dress because I don't have that kind of strength. So I just inserted this breast pad. I got them from Wawak. They're actually very cheap, like $3. Breast pads very expensive everywhere else. You can get them on Amazon too. So you just put them like this with the corner thing to the side, just like I did. Make sure it lies well. Then you pin it so it stays in place. Then you take off the dress and hand stitches like I'm going to show you. If you remember from my sketch, I had this drapey thing. Actually, I'm going to include the sketch. Here you go. But see how I have that draping thing on the sketch? I wanted to include that drape effect in the dress. So I went ahead and put it on my mannequin, and I sort of draped it and hand stitched it so it stayed in place when I actually take to the machine to stitch it. And this is how it should look when you've hand stitched your breast pad down. You just need to like do the top part. You don't have to do the whole thing around, but you're more than free to if you want to. Now, next thing I did, if you guys have seen my sewing videos, I do this every single time, is dividing my body measurement by 4 so I can see, the actual lines to sew on. So I divide my bust by 4, mark it, then divide my waist by 4, mark it, divide my hip by 4, mark it, and then join all those lines together. And then I sew it. So next, I drew out my sleeve pattern and cut it out. So for the bottom part of the sleeve, I didn't want it to be fitted. I wanted it to like give this little flay illusion, so that way it goes past my waist. So that's why the bottom part looks flared like that. But this is my sleeve pattern. If you want a more detailed tutorial on this, ask. So this was the first time I was trying this method of cutting out a collar. So basically what you do is just fold it like you're cutting a flare, and then just cut out the collar. If you want to see how I cut a flare, go watch my flare video. But this was me cutting the flare basically, and then it turned into a collar. So the next step in the collar making will be to stitch the front, so that way it's closed off. Then when it's done, you turn it inside out, and then you stitch the bottom part of that collar to the neck of the dress. So this is what the dress is looking like so far. I am in love. I just wish for this part I sort of made it a little bit more free, because it kind of feels like I'm suffocating right now. But I love the fit. I love the sleeve, like how it comes here. Okay, so I think this part should definitely go higher, like here. Yeah, you see that slant it's giving? That's what it should give. Let me see. So the next thing I did, I actually forgot to show you guys how I pinned this, so sorry. But the next thing I did was to attach this beaded fringe onto the bottom of the dress. It's really easy, even if you're a beginner. I bet you figure it out. But sorry, I forgot to show you guys how I pinned it. So at this point, it's my dress. I was already getting tired of it. So ignore the fact that the inside is not as neat as my regular work will be. But what I'm doing just now is just hemming that part down so it doesn't move. Now, if this was for like somebody else, what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlock the stitching there so it looks neat before I go ahead and hem. So, if it's for yourself, you can do this. But for somebody else, please don't do this because it's not a neat kind of work. You get what I'm saying? So next, it was time to just come with me through this beading journey and enjoy the music. Thank you for spending 10 minutes of your life with me. Let's count down. 3, 2, 1. Here are the results. And it's a wrap. Tell a friend to subscribe.